All right, welcome to another episode of the Freezin 4 NFC North Podcast, episode 52, 2023 NFL Draft Kansas City review and meeting Roger Goodell. We are stoked. All of us are, excited. Finally, the draft is behind us. No more mock drafts. Get to talk about players, all that. Schedule release is coming up, very soon as well. We got a guest here. First of all, welcome in Seventh Letter. And who was that guest?
That was my daughter. She was going to bed, kissing me goodnight.
Very nice. And hopefully you're training her right, and she's going to be a Bear fan.
Hopefully she'll be a Vikings fan.
She's a Lions fan.
Hey, right now might be the best time in the history to be a Lions fan, So.
Yeah, right.
That's true.
Right.
That's true. Welcome in, Nick Bodkins. How are you doing?
I'm all right, brother.
Yeah, and we had a chance. Almost got a chance to meet on Thursday of the draft, but glad you got to take it in. We'll talk a little bit about that. Also, we're going to do a review of each team and see how everyone is feeling at this point of post-draft and all that. But also welcome in Viking Dave. How are you doing?
I'm still the leader in the North, because that's all that matters right now. Until otherwise, we're still the winners, and that's all that matters.
All right, I'll take. Yeah, I get it. But here's the thing. Yeah, I definitely. I
and there's no more Rodgers in the division. What I got? I'm good. I'm happy.
Well, let's go ahead and get into that. Being happy then. When you look at the Vikings picks, something that really kind of jumped out to me is waiting on a quarterback till later. Jaron Hall. So first of all, talk about obviously maybe your excitement for Jordan Addison and some of the other picks, but what the Vikings plan is then going forward for quarterback as well.
I don't know. I'd be lying if I said I knew. I think. I mean, there was a lot of rumors that they were going to trade up for a quarterback. I really thought that they might, but 3 of the guys were in the top 4. So, I mean, if you're not going to go that high, then you're not going to get the guy you want. Obviously, they didn't want Levis. He was still there when they picked, and they didn't want him. So, at that point, maybe they had their eye on Hooker. He went early 3rd round before I picked. So, either they're playing one awry, or they just said, you know what, we're going to roll with what we have this year, and then we'll deal with it next year and just see how it goes. I'm excited for Addison. We needed a number 2 receiver. I said it all season. Thielen wasn't it, and as soon as the season was over, I said we need to draft a receiver in the 1st round. That's what I wanted all off season. So it sounds like Addison's probably maybe the best route runner in the draft. He's a really explosive guy. So maybe not the fastest, but he's really good at running routes, and he should get a lot of one-on-ones when you got Jefferson on the other side. So I'm really excited to see what he can do.
What is that going to do with KJ Osborne then? Is he going to start out number 2 and then kind of Jordan Addison's going to work in? I mean, what are you hearing from some Vikings fans and media?
I don't know. I just think KJ Osborne's a number 3 at best.
Yeah,
I like him. He's a good player, but he's not a number 2. He can play that in a pickle. If you have no other options. But I think he's a number 3 at best. And, I saw when they drafted Addison in the room there, O'Connell was saying, he said, this guy's a day 1 starter. So I expect him to start from the get-go and KJ be the number 3. That's kind of what I expect. I'd be surprised unless Addison comes in for some reason, just isn't that good, but I don't see that happening.
Well, welcoming another one of our day 1 starters, Rev Trev. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you. We're definitely going to be getting into some of the Packers picks, but right now we're definitely getting into the Vikings picks. Jordan Addison, that was a need. What about cornerback Mekhi Blackman and some of the other picks the Vikings have? I mean, do you know much about the players? Are you excited, or what are your thoughts?
I really don't know much about some of these guys. I'll be honest. I'm not a big college person and draft guy. I mean, I know some of the big names and the 1st round guys. After that, I'm not going to act like I know a lot of these guys. I don't.
He's a good tackle. He could tackle.
The D tackles. I mean, I've heard good things. I've heard good things about Blackman also. Even Jay Ward, I've heard really good things about. But I mean, it's rare to hear bad things about some of these guys. Even the quarterback. They say I don't think he's a projected starter, but they say that he could develop it to being a solid backup for the 5th round or wherever we got him at. that's kind of, if you can get a good young backup quarterback to last you for a few years, that's not a bad pick either.
Yeah, like 52 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, he was pretty good in college. So I mean, you never know. Brady was a 6th rounder. I'm sure people didn't project him to be good. And obviously, I'm not saying he's going to be Brady. I would never say that. That's all kind of a lot of luck goes involved in that. But maybe O'Connell can get something out of him. I guess we'll see.
So 7th letter, you like Jake Quellen?
Jake Quellen. Who's Jake Quellen on your team, right?
Jake Quellen Roy.
Yeah.
He and
Jake
Peel,
Quellen,
my favorite sketch.
That's a great skit.
It's really a Jake Quellen though. Who the fuck drafted Jake Quellen? I saw that. Hold up.
The Vikings,
that's our guy
right here.
Jake Quellen Roy, the defensive tackle. Yeah, big. Yeah, nose tackle.
Welcome to the show, 7th letter.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I was about to call him Jacqueline.
Honestly, I kind of thought that was his name. I really don't know how to say his name.
It literally is Jake Quellen.
Yeah.
Well, we look at these picks. Obviously, they didn't have very many. They fit some needs there. When you look at that, Nick, do you kind of see anything there that jumps out at you that you're a little bit scared for the Vikings?
Nah, I mean, adding Jordan Addison's what they needed, right? Somebody had to place Thielen in there, so they're kind of strapped against the cap, and they're kind of in a weird situation. Like, I feel like the Vikings are like, are they a rebuild? Because it feels like they almost need to be, but also the division is like still winnable, and who knows what the hell they can do once you're in the playoffs. You let the cards lie where they lie. So it's like they're in a tricky situation. I feel like it's like if they were any other division, maybe besides this one and maybe the South, like you'd almost be like, hey, just blow this thing up and let's rebuild. It'll be interesting what they do with the quarterback, because I thought maybe they would get up and get one. But if you really think about it and you hear this draft wasn't deep, like there's not outside of Stroud and, Bryce Young, like there wasn't guys that where everybody was like, oh my gosh, maybe Hendon Hooker. I thought they would have been a good pick. That way he could sit behind Kurt 1 year and rehabilitate that ACL injury that he had. Other than that though, and then I just kind of Googled hey, upcoming quarterbacks in the free agent. Well, Kirk Cousins is the best free agent quarterback that's going to be coming out next year. Are they just going to re-sign him? The next draft class is a little bit deeper, a little bit better. Maybe they think getting a quarterback there. I'm not too sure. I mean, they're in a weird situation. I feel like, they can't. The horseshoe, they can't have the horseshoe up their ass like they did last year and win 7, 11, 10, one-score games. That can't happen. That's just not, sustainable. But let's see if they – so was that, the anomaly? Hey, we're going to get better and we're going to beat teams by more, or we just had the horseshoe up our ass and we were able to win those games. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But they still got Justin Jefferson. Who knows what the hell they do with Dalvin Cook as well? It was reported that he could be gone. So, but they didn't draft a running back. So it's now Cook
drafted one. They drafted a
Oh, did they?
In 7th round.
Okay. 7th round. They re-signed Madison.
That's a guy that's going to replace Dalvin Cook. That's a guy that's on the
he drafted a running back,
a practice squad guy or somebody on the special teams. They're not running him out to replace Dalvin Cook, is what all I'm saying. So they're in a weird spot, and they drafted in a weird, kind of similar situation. Some needs for now and needs a little bit for the future, but they didn't have as many picks. But adding Jordan Addison, and then he'll have one-on-one coverage. What you do with KJ Osborne, you put him at the 2, and then maybe put him back at the 3 where he thrived a little bit better, and you see what happens.
What are your thoughts, Trevor? Are you kind of along the same lines as Nick?
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say there because, I think Addison is a good add, is a need, right? So I'm excited to watch him. I think, losing Thielen now in that number 2 spot, he had declined and all that kind of stuff. You need to be building. So I'm personally excited for the Vikings and see what he does. But like all draft picks, you got to produce or you're not making any money and you're going home. And what do they say? The average life of a running back is 3 years. So this running back they got, he's got a short window and he's got to make his cash and he better produce, right?
Absolutely. And speaking of a team that obviously is everybody's talking about now as far as being the top of the division coming into next year. the Detroit Lions, and we had a comment here from John. He was on for a little bit, and he said Hooker will run the North. So let's go ahead and look at the Lions picks, and what are your thoughts on the Lions then picks here, 7-letter? Because obviously, Jahmyr Gibbs was an interesting.
I told you we need a running back. I told you.
That's true. So, but did he go a little bit higher? What were your thoughts when they traded down and then still went with a running back?
A part of me was like, maybe we're trying to get Carter, but when we picked the running back, I said, oh well, there goes Swift. But it's kind of like it's I feel bad for him because you can't help injuries and he was so good for us when he played, but he never stayed healthy. Never. He never. And he'll be. And now he's the greatest running back. He's the best running back in the NFL according to Twitter. Like he's about to go off. But you can't give him the ball 20, 30 times. You can't. He's a 15. Get the ball in his hands 15 times a game, and he'll maybe stay healthy. But his skill, he's so dynamic. And I felt bad that we had to go. But this young guy, man, 4.3 speed, get him on the field with J-Mo.
Well, yeah, and so there's no denying that there's talent there, but is a 12? I mean, was that too high for someone who's not going to be? I mean, you got Monty, presumably as a starter. I mean, was that you don't think that was too high?
No, I don't. No, not for somebody that any down, any alignment, he's a threat. He changes the game. So if someone has the ability to change the game, change the way people defend you, it's worth that pick. It just is, in my opinion. I think I'm okay with what we have on the defensive line. So I think that I don't want another receiver. It wasn't no receivers worth taking that high. The cornerback we wanted was gone. So I say why not? And we traded back from 6 and got a 34. And we got a tight end, which I wasn't too happy about, but
we'll get to that in a second. Nick, I saw you kind of shaking your head on the Jahmyr Gibbs pick. What were your thoughts on that?
I mean, we just said the lifespan of a running back is 3-4 years. You can find value in any running back in any round. Like that's the most interchangeable position in the league these days. There's a reason there's not cowbell backs anymore. It's because teams realized, hey, we can just go get another guy, younger, cheaper, faster, better. And that's to take Jahmyr Gibbs at 12. It was, I thought, a super reach. They could have waited. They could have traded back again in the mid rounds and took him in somewhere in the 15 range and acquired some more things. I didn't see a team taking him that early. First of all, they're called the Detroit Lions now because all the Hawkeyes they drafted. I almost got to root for this damn team because how many Hawkeyes they got now.
Well, it's like your board. The Packers have players that they on their board that fit their scheme and what they do. And in my offense, I kind of feel like Dan Campbell's trying to create the Saints offense again. So he needed his Alvin Kamara. You know what I mean? And Alvin Kamara, the best player on the field most times when he's in the game. You know what I'm saying? So if you have that and the ability to get that type of dynamic player, I say go for it. I mean, I didn't really see anything else that I wanted. You know what I mean? Like I wanted Bijan, Robinson, of course. But if you can trade back and get someone that's, can be is dominant, then you do that. A person that does everything, you can put him in the slot. He's 4.3 speed. That man can score from it.
I'm not arguing his talent. I'm not saying his talent. I'm saying at the pick at 12 is what I feel like you could have even traded back further, acquired some more assets is all I'm saying. Like, don't get me wrong. The kid's going to I hope the kid's a great player. We don't, nobody really fucking knows until we get there. Right. Like, but I just say at 12, would I have took him? No. Do I like him for y'all's system? Yes. But do I feel like, hey, could I picked up the phone and called somebody else and traded 4 or 5 spots back in the 20s and still got Jahmyr Gibbs? 1,001%. That's all I'm saying. Like, he's a good player. Hopefully. Yeah, probably is. But at 12, taking a running back at 12 at this day and age is a little bit of a reach.
Yeah,
I heard that there was teams right after them that wanted him, and that's why they took him. They knew that they had to.
Maybe so. Everybody had him circled.
Well, not only that, what if they try? Like, you don't know that they didn't try to trade down, and then they just couldn't get a deal done. You know what I mean? So if there's the guy you like a lot, then you're not going to pass on him, and if you do, then you're going to be mad that you don't get him. So
it's our board.
I think running back position. Yeah, in general, it's not. But there's special guys with special talent, like Kamara, like I think Dalvin Cook in his day, and Christian McCaffrey, and there's a handful of these guys that are special playmakers that like you can put this guy out wide apparently, and he to me there's guys that are running backs and there's guys that are weapons. And it sounds like he's a weapon.
He's a weapon.
That to me, that's a different category. He's going to be playing running back position, but if he's a weapon and he can play, just mismatches all over the field, then that's a different kind of player. Obviously we'll see how good he is going forward. We don't know, but if they feel like that he's that kind of player, then you can't really knock that until we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe he is the next Kamara, and like he said, Kamara was the best guy on the field most times, almost every game. You had to count for him all over the place. So if he's that kind of a player, which we'll see, it's not a bad pick. You know what I mean?
Well, I was going to say, kind of switching gears a little bit. Speaking of weapons, I really like the Jack Campbell pick here. He's one of my favorite Hawkeyes. What are your thoughts? First of all, Nick, obviously you're a Hawkeye fan too. What were your thoughts, as the Lions picked Jack Campbell?
Man, again, it's just like shit, man. He went a little earlier than what I thought. I was expecting the back end of the first round, maybe early second. But so kudos to the Lions for taking the guy. He fits exactly who Dan Campbell wants on his team. Like that's the thing. It's like he is a kneecapping, biting, Kurt's dog, gangster in the middle. They got a dude. That the Lions defense needed to shore up in the middle, and they got a dude there. So I mean, kudos to them. That's a guy. I mean, shit. I hope the Packers would have drafted him. I mean, we got Van Ness, which I know we'll talk, but I'd have loved Jack Campbell. Laporta didn't, another Kurt's dog at the same time, another great. It's crazy because if you look at all the great tight ends, Iowa's tight end, baby. Laporta actually broke the record, I think, or has the single season for pass reception yards and things like that. Not as a great of a blocker as somebody like a George Kittle, but can spread the field. He's a little bit TJ Hawkinson 2.0, maybe a tad bit better coming out.
Don't tell seventh letter that.
Hold up. One thing that I read in the notes: consistently finishes forward.
Sam Laporta.
That's the difference between him and TJ Hawkinson, yo. Oh my God! And then you see him after the catch. Different. That's all I want my boy Hawkinson to do. After you catch the ball, don't fall.
So you were happy with talk about the Campbell pick, and then it sounds like you were happy with the Laporta pick then as well.
Yeah. Well, the Campbell pick I liked because I feel like in free agency, I recognize that the Lions they looked at the Miami and the Carolina game, and those two games where we just could not, and the Seattle game, we could not stop them. We could not stop the run. And against Miami, we could not compete on the outside at all. We just couldn't. And we played hard on defense. We had them 3rd and 19 like 4 times, and they got first downs each time. Like we couldn't do anything with them. With this big ass middle linebacker who plays good coverage, he can tackle. He's big enough to blitz. That's it. That's all I want. I just
he's
want
a dog
to
too.
Compete on defense. He's a problem. So. I slept on it because in the beginning I'm like, we can get this right here. Maybe we can get what's homeboy the outside linebacker for Georgia. Of course,
Nolan Smith.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, we got some speed. I need some speed and athleticism. But when I picked him, I slept on it. I looked at some of the tape. I listened to other people talk about him. Number 1 linebacker in the draft, middle linebacker in the draft. So I mean, and we need that.
He's a bigger, stronger Chad Greenway.
Great comp. Yep.
Yeah. He's a bigger, stronger Chad Greenway.
Let's get it. Let's fucking go.
Trevor, I wanted to bring you in on the next one first. I'm not sure if you had a chance, and maybe Nick, you as well, had a chance to see the Packcast meltdown over Brian Branch. This Packer podcaster really wanted Brian Branch for the Packers, and then Packers ended up trading to the Lions. And it's if you find that on YouTube, it is amazing. Yeah, you've seen it, Seventh Letter?
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Hilarious. And so, Trevor, what were your thoughts? I mean, obviously, do you think the Packers had needed, Brian Branch, or were you surprised that they traded with the Lions?
Yeah, I didn't see that video, so I don't really know the context there.
No.
Sorry, is Brian Branch the safety?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, safety nickel.
Yeah, so
from Alabama, right?
Yeah. Okay, so I thought we were gonna go there. But actually, to be honest, when it came to that pick, I just felt like I actually don't know what we're going to do. And I know that the fan base knew what they wanted. And I kept making videos saying, you guys are out to lunch. If you're mock drafting a wide receiver right now, you should stop mock drafting, because we never, ever, ever, other than 2002, I don't know, was it 92? Was it 82? I don't even know anymore.
Javon Walker, that's the last one. Whatever Javon Walker class was.
Exactly. And it's like, it's JSN. And I'm like, we could have gone Branch. We could have gone, well, I said that we were probably going defensive end, but what I wanted to do was trade back and then pick up one of the tight ends, because I didn't know what we were going to do in the second round. I still wish we could. I think they probably tried to do that, but the Branch to me would have been a really good pick there, in my opinion, just because. But I don't mind the defensive end. I mean, why not? I'm just really glad we didn't draft a wide receiver there, because I don't believe in JSN like everyone else does. You're gonna spend that draft capital on a slot wide receiver, like. What's the best case scenario? Wes Welker?
A lot of people said Justin Jefferson was a slot receiver. Remember that?
Yeah.
A lot of people did.
Okay. But okay. And so now
I'm just saying.
I just read something that Justin Jefferson's actually not that tall. Is that true?
I don't think he's like 6'4". I think he's like 6'1", 6'2", maybe. I don't think he's like super tall.
Okay.
Real slight.
I don't know.
I'm just saying.
Like,
I remember when he came out, everyone was like, "He's just a slot guy." That's why he's not
college
high.
Ball,
so
Justin Jefferson played 90% of his slot
because they had Terrace Marshall and they had Chase on the outside, so like that's why. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, you never know. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I need to watch that video, because I want to see that. I always love it when someone like loses it, except for when they stage it and they throw and break their own TV.
Last year with Jameson Williams, he did the same thing last year.
Sorry, was he a Packers fan that wanted Branch, or was it a Lions fan?
No, Packers fan. Yep, the Packcast, I believe it is.
Yeah.
We'll get to the Packers in a second here. Wanted to touch base on Hendon Hooker. Then your thoughts on him and the rest of the draft, Seventh Letter.
I like Hendon Hooker. I think it'll shut Lions fans up a little bit about drafting a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? I'm Jared Goff, team Jared Goff. So I respected that pick. And he took a lot of sacks, but his quarterback rating was 128. So
he's older. I mean, that's the only thing.
He took a lot of punishment, but he he's still able to stand in there and make the throw. So, and he's more athletic than Jared Goff. So, I mean, if Jared Goff want to start talking stupid money, and we got a backup plan. You know what I mean?
So Hooker's already 25, though. I didn't realize he was that old.
I wish I was 25. It's all right.
But I have a question regarding that, because I'm with you. I think it's a good pick because he's a talented quarterback.
Right.
But what I'm confused about is last podcast, you literally said that Jared Goff is the best quarterback in the NFC North. And then now you're like, oh, I love this pick with this quarterback. You can't have it both ways, bro.
No.
I'm really confused. So I'm asking for some clarification here. I'm very confused that you're flipping flopping here.
I'm a person that I understand how, he's kind of a slight guy, and one good hit to put him out, you know what I mean? And we don't have a backup. So I feel like if you have a competent backup, you can still sustain and win a few games if you lose. I remember when Matthew Stafford got hurt a few years ago, we didn't win again. You know what I'm saying? So it's I place a high value on backup quarterbacks. So I know what he is. He's giving me a lot of, you know what I'm saying, Bridgewater vibes, and I'm okay with that as a backup. You know, so as a backup, I'm okay with it. For Lions fans, the average Lions fans who doesn't like Jared Goff, most Lions don't like him. They're like, he's all right enough for us for now, you know, but you know, we still need a backup, and that'll shut him up for a little bit. That's the hooker to me. Like, he's just like drafting Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, shut up, we got a wide receiver. Be quiet. That's what it was. That's what the Amon-Ra St. Brown pick was. But it turned out being good. You know, being a good pick for us. So,
and say it is always good to look for the future quarterback wise, and Hendon Hooker. I mean, that could be a solid pick. In the next couple of years, depending on what happens with Goff. But I wanted to kind of switch gears and get to the Packers here as well. So
we're going to be here all night. They had like 100 picks.
They had a ton. So, Nick, I'm not sure how much longer you have here, but wanted to get your takes on obviously Lucas Van Ness and the tight ends. And obviously it looks like Jordan Love's a replacement in Sean Clifford. What your thoughts are your thoughts there, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of like Trev when it was going in, when everybody's doing these mock drafts and everybody's asking, people asking me to come on the show and asking me what the hell I think. My answer was, I don't fucking know. I don't. And that's the answer. I know it's probably, as much as I sit here and say, hey, I want a receiver. I would have bet the farm that we weren't going to take a receiver. And guess what? I would have been right. Like, it's just not what we do. Right. Did I see Van Ness? Did I think Van Ness? Absolutely not. Am I cool with it? Am I cool with it? Am I cool with it?
You're an Iowa fan. How do you not know who that is?
I know who Van Ness was. I'm saying I didn't think Van Ness was going to come to the Packers. That's what I'm trying to say.
And it's interesting enough. He didn't really play a lot either. Kirk Ferentz likes to hold players back, that are younger. And so, that may be good in the long run for the Packers. He doesn't have as many snaps under his belt, wear and tear on the body.
I mean, where's he going to do? Like, is he going to be, because we play a 3-4. You got Rashawn Gary. I know he's coming off ACL surgery. You still got Preston Smith, who's aging, but I hope and then we needed, so in the second round, I really love what we did. The Van Ness pick was like, typical Packers move, right? Like,
you texted me that. Yeah.
He's going to be good.
Just a typical Packers move. The second round, I loved, hey, let's go get 2 tight ends. They said that Tucker Kraft kid, I believe, is very athletic.
Yeah.
Is very athletic. Jalen Reed is a great route runner. Yeah. All right, so let's go see what we can get. The Sean Clifford thing is not as baffling. Remember, they did the same thing when Brett Favre left. They drafted Matt Flynn in the 7th round, and they drafted Brian fucking Brom out of all things in the 2nd. So, I mean, we didn't have a backup quarterback, so why not draft Sean Clifford? The outside of that, the draft, I gave the Packers actually a decent draft. I gave them about a B. I thought did really well. The most baffling thing today, and before I get out of here, how is Gucci going to sit there and say, we don't know if we're going to pick up the 5th-year option on Jordan? I hate everything about you, Goody. Like, why are you the way that you are is what I want to say to this man. Because why would you not pick up the 5th-year option? You just traded the franchise away to the Jets because you so-called believe in this kid. But you're like, man, don't know if we're going to pick up his 5th-year option. Never seen the kid play. Well, what the hell's he been doing 3 years in practice and you're trading Aaron Rodgers away for? You make no goddamn sense.
Amen.
Love it. Are you similar to that, Trevor?
Yeah, like I am honestly in shock that the draft grades are so high with Green Bay. Because when I'm looking at this draft, I'm like, I have no idea if this is going to be good or not. Like, I was losing my mind. I did a live video of us drafting Lucas Van Ness, and then I was like, I'm going to do this for the second round too, because it's kind of fun. And then I people were over talking. I'm like, this is not going to work. If I did a live reaction to Jaden Reed, I would have lost my mind. Who the heck is that guy?
Michigan State wide receiver.
Yeah, I understand who he is.
You like him, seventh
You're
letter?
talking about the second round?
He's good.
We could have got him in the third and the fourth. That was a bad draft pick because now I get it. Go get your guy. And Goots, obviously, this is your guy. But what, like this Jordan Love conversation, like you just got 2 tight ends, a wide receiver, like in those rounds, and now you're saying this about Jordan Love? You're seriously, like, it's like you're covering your butt. You know what I mean? It's like, so I told you, well, you've watched him for 3 stinking years. 3 years. And then you're going to trade away Rodgers, who is a Hall of Famer, who may have a good year. I think Aaron Rodgers was going to retire after this season anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think he was, I'm going to say this before I get out of here, and I don't mean to cut you off, Trev. I think he was going to retire this year. He even said himself, 90%, I'm going to this weird darkness retreat. I'm 90% retired. You know what happened? He comes out of this weird darkness retreat. He sees his phone light up. Goody's talking shit about him, saying blah, blah, blah. We love Jordan. We don't really know if Aaron read that as, oh, you think I'm a fucking washed up old man? Guess what? I got something for you. Let me call my buddy, over there in the Jets. Hey, yeah, why don't you fly out and meet me and the boys, fly Woody and the boys out here. Let's meet. And he liked what they had, looked at the roster, said, go get Lazard. He, and these guys.
Got our guy.
Okay, but if you're right on that, that was awesome for us because we got something for him.
I don't subscribe to that.
I know you don't. You and I disagree with this, but I'm telling you right now, if what you're saying happened, that is absolutely best case scenario for us. Because at the end of the day, if he was going to retire, we get jack squat for him. Now we get a 2nd round pick this year, a 2nd round or 1st round pick next year. That helps our team. It doesn't matter if you don't agree with the theology or the philosophy. I mean, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, that is an incredible strategy for us that we got something for nothing.
I would rather got nothing because I believe Aaron's biggest gaffe was we didn't treat people right, and we don't.
Okay, well
here's the thing.
At the end of the day, are we a Packers fan or are we an Aaron Rodgers fan?
I'm a Packers fan, but I believe in doing people the right way.
Okay.
Well,
that's what I mean.
I want to talk to that real quick. So, Trevor, it's like, sometimes the people that are closest to us know our triggers. And I think, and maybe that is like Goody knew Rodgers triggers, right? And he was going to be like, we're moving on. And I feel like the last couple of years has kind of been like that, like they're like, almost daring, Rodgers. And then when it was, an 8-9 season, there's like, okay, now it was they're out from the fan base and say, oh, all right, we can back away from him. But you look at Rodgers, like he is like a woman scorned. I mean, I think he may actually have a good season for the Packers.
He's going to go light the world on fire.
But that could be good for the Packers as well, because that means he's going to go. Yep.
Well, we're getting a 1st round pick. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing that. I just felt like I would rather see him retire a Packer. We did him right. You know what I mean? And then go to and then play for the Jets. Like there's just something still about that nostalgia or, the way it's supposed to be. And I know that never happens anymore or doesn't happen, but I got to get out of here. Got to jump on my own show.
Thanks, where can everyone find you?
Guys. Right here at the Bodkin Show. Find me right there. Like, subscribe, share, be a friend, tell a friend. I'll cop on with another time with you guys. It's always a pleasure.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Thanks again. Peace, man. I think that the Packers had a pretty good draft. I mean, for what you guys do, like you got a couple of receivers, and y'all always got some little bullshit fast receiver who could play running back or something like, and he good for y'all. Yeah. Y'all always have little fast, kind of twitchy defensive linemen. You got one there, with Wooten, from Auburn. So it's like y'all got a kicker. Because I know Crosby's 71 years old. You know what I mean?
Brother of Daniel Carlson as well.
Right, from the Raiders. Right.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So
fuck that guy.
Y'all gotta view.
I hope his son's better than his dad.
Drafted like you guys draft. And
No,
he's consistently won. You know what I mean? With those type of guys. So I think it was like a Packer draft. Like nothing surprised me. I was not surprised at Van Ness. Yeah, that's about right. Musgrave. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like everything kind of made sense to me.
It makes
a good
sense.
Packers draft.
I think it makes sense. The problem is, and this is where, like, you know, I'm gonna do a video like sharing, like I'm not an expert. I'm a fan, right? And so when I make comments, I'm not sitting here pretending like I've just watched 4,000 hours of film and did research. Like I really don't know. Like Goots and the team and all the teams, they do their research, right? So I have to say I'm gonna trust in the management that we have. But what is so shocking to me, and if you are watching any Packers stuff for Twitter or whatever, whoever, all podcasters, we are shocked at who we drafted. We drafted the right positions, but did we draft the right players? Because at the end of the day, if you don't draft the right players, I don't care what you drafted. And so I'm just saying the Lucas Van Ness, I'm hoping that they picked that right one, right? Because it's like, oh, the Patriots wanted him. And so with the Packers moving up and then the Patriots moving out, that's what happened. I don't know if that's true or not. If it's
probably
cool,
true.
It might be
like
true.
A Patriot pick.
Well,
I'm like, why aren't we picking Miles Murphy? That guy is probably way better than Van Ness.
He fell, though, quite a bit in the draft.
Yeah, exactly. And like, there's other guys, and it's like, man, I think Musgrave is a good tight end, but people were losing their minds that we didn't get Darnell Washington. That we didn't. I was like, we need to trade up to get Michael Mayers. That kid is special, and we're not doing that. And they're like, oh, we're going Musgrave now. Musgrave. Everyone's like, oh, he's just like Kelsey. I'm like, holy smokes, we're gonna use the Kelsey term, one of the greatest tight ends of all time. Like you're out of your mind if you think that that's gonna happen for sure. Like you're guessing, and I get it's all educated guessing. So I know this is a long rant, but let me just land the plane here, because this is what I don't get, and I don't have enough information to say that I know any better. So I have to say, hey, we're gonna see how this runs. But I'm shocked at who we drafted. I'm really excited that we did go get some offensive weapons for Love, but I'm very frustrated that Goot said what he said about Love today or yesterday, whatever. I'm like, are you nuts right now? So it's great that the league thinks that we did a good job. I'm just sitting there going, I don't know.
Let's say what I love it's the obligatory, the shot of after every pick, everyone has to give high fives, like, yes, we got our guy.
Right.
And it's just like, all right, settle down here. Because that's the thing. Yeah, we won't know. But I do like the Van Ness pick. I think it was interesting that, and I don't know if you know this, but he took the call in his second home in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, with his family, including his girlfriend, who is the sister of Cole Kmet. And so it kind of interesting. They were saying, well, he was kind of already dogging the Bears, but there you go.
Dog.
Well, but he was wearing, like, there's a picture that I sent you guys of him wearing a Bears hat.
He grew up a Bears fan. Yep.
And I'm like, oh, what the heck are we doing? That alone, I would be like, that's it. We're not drafting that guy. I don't care.
I was like
Peter's. You probably got on your team, man.
All these guys, Lions fans, Vikings fans. It's like,
right.
Well, like Peter Skronsky grew up a Packer fan, I believe, right? But
I mean, they pay you like your team all of a sudden, right?
Right. But when I looked at that pick, for the Bear, I didn't want Skronsky just because he was a guard. I thought, so when I looked at that, I was like, eh. But Dave, when you look at some of the Packers picks, does this kind of worry you long term at all, or what was your favorite pick that the Packers took?
I'm I don't know. I don't know any of these players. I don't know I don't know anything about these tight ends. I mean, I saw some highlights of Van Ness, and he was bullying people. So I mean, he looks really good. You know, he might be a beast. But I'll be lying if I said I knew anything about any of these guys, because I really, really just don't. I've heard good things about the tight ends also, but I don't know enough about them to give an educated guess. I'll be 100% honest.
Lucas
I really
Van
don't.
Ness, y'all instantly improving. He's a good run stopper. Instantly improved against the run. He's good against, good pass rusher. Athletic as fuck. You know what I'm saying?
He looks
like
huge. He looks like a freaking monster.
You know what I'm saying? Luke Musgrave, he's a basketball player. He's a pro. Like, that's the type of
he's a hockey player.
That quick.
Is he a hockey player?
I didn't know that.
He led the league. He led his team in penalty minutes.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So like okay. Now I just want to clarify the 2 tight ends we got. I do think that they're going to pan out for us. Okay. So I really like that we got both of those guys. People were saying if it wasn't for Kincaid and Mayers, that Musgrave and Tucker Kraft would have gone higher. So it is what it is. And I think they said it was a deep draft.
And
I just
Jaden Reed,
Jaden
Reed, explosive wide receiver.
Yeah.
Right. So what I'm saying is, but like you start putting different names in, like if we went and got who was I wanting there at tackle? Jones from Ohio State. What's his first name? I don't know, whatever his first name is.
Paris Jones Jr.
Yeah. No. It was
Broderick Jones?
No, the other guy. Yeah.
I don't know.
He's the biggest, huge monster dude. Anyways, I put it on my Twitter.
Yeah.
If we would have got him and we would have got Darnell Washington, like we could have ran the ball for years if they could have stayed healthy, right? Like it's like the problem is we got nobody that nobody knew. And it's kind of like, I think that's what you're saying, 7 letter. Like that's the Packer way. Yeah. But if we insert names, like if Luke Van Ness turns into the next Clay Matthews, we're like, what a draft. We're the best. We're so smart, right? Yeah. But we don't know. And that's the problem with the fan base is they were so sold on JNS. And I'm like, you guys, we're not getting him. I would have went Quentin Johnson personally. Because you know what the comp for Quentin was? Christian Watson. Imagine having 2 Christian Watsons on the field. That would have been awesome, right? Why didn't we go get Hyatt, from Tennessee? Why didn't we go get him?
Too. Yeah.
But the problem was, and I know the reason now is because Jaden Reed, they say, is a great route runner and he's quick.
He's your Randall Cobb.
Hyatt is not a good. Literally, they said that Hyatt's not a good route runner. He's all speed, and I'm like, okay, I know nothing. So I'm like sitting there going, okay, I'm going to listen. And maybe Jaden Reed's awesome. I don't know. But
I would say, sometimes it is good. Right. Like, I feel like, if they pick players you don't know, it's like, okay, well, they're doing their due diligence. They kind of know, the players. And that's why I don't get too upset, with a specific player. The first round, you kind of know position wise, like going to the Bears. I was obviously there, we're talking about live. Everyone's talking about, Jalen Carter. And so I was happy when, it sounded like the Bears they traded back and they were all in on Darnell Wright to the get-go.
Darnell Wright. I told you.
and I like that pick and just kind of hearing a little bit of the backstory on that. They did private workouts with both Jalen Carter and Darnell Wright, and they really put Darnell Wright to the task, and they gave him all these different plays to do, got him fatigued and he didn't quit. He just kept going, didn't quit. And that's what they loved about him, that he had that in him and that drive in him. And on the flip side, they also did that with Jalen Carter, and he got tired quick. Obviously he's had a lot of stuff on the offseason, but he got tired quick. He had to cut it short. And so that's what I worried about. I think Jalen Carter can be a talented player, but in what the Bears are, building right now, it's just not the right place.
Right.
So I do like, him with the Eagles, but I was happy with the Darnell Wright pick. And now some of these other players, I was like, I didn't know. I was standing with some other Bears fans at the draft.
You got your DeForest Buckner. You got your Bruckner. Eberflus got his Bruckner with Dexter.
Dexter. Okay.
Yeah.
So and solid player. I really Tyreek Stevenson being from the U. And then obviously with my guy coming out to announce him, the greatest returner of all time, coming out to announce Devin Hester coming out to announce him. That was pretty cool a moment. But seventh letter, you like Pickens as well?
Yeah, like that. It's an Eberflus defense. I just remember when he was on the Colts. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, who the fuck is this? Like, who are these people? That everybody was fast and strong.
That was the big thing. That was the big thing, and that we talked about kind of post draft is this was kind of an indictment on the athleticism from last year of the defensive line that just wasn't there, and so I was happy to see that. The Rashawn Johnson was kind of an interesting pick, and some people are already sliding him ahead. Second in running back, so we'll kind of see how he turns out, but also the Tyler Scott pick is an interesting one.
Yeah. Fast as hell.
and some people say like another Tyreek Hill. We'll see. So that was an interesting pick. I really like that one. The Noah Sewell one, and I ended up being in the draft theater for this, and I didn't realize at the time. But yeah, I mean now it's
that's my son's brother. Yeah.
I was gonna say this. Lions and Bears rivalry is going to be a sibling rivalry now. So
right, two brothers, right, two brothers on the team, St. Brown and Sewell.
Yep, right. And Terrell Smith, good pick, and so I like what the Bears did. When you kind of look at this draft, obviously seventh letter, you were having some thoughts. Trevor, what are your thoughts when?
There was two guys that I did not want the Bears to draft. One was Paris Johnson and Darnell Wright. I was like, please do not draft those guys. They're going to be a headache. And I've seen some videos of Van Ness owning Paris Johnson. And it's like, it was one play that they go over and over. I'm like, guys, like, let's watch the whole game here. Like, right. So Wright, I was actually, all the mock drafts I was doing, I was picking Wright at 13. So because I'm like, this guy is good, and so when you guys got, I'm like, dang it,
it's like an asset, man.
And what I like about your take is you don't think that you're gonna win the division or the Super Bowl this year, but it's a building to next. I think the Bears got better.
Yeah,
the Bears got way better. And then if you take the off season of like the free agency and all that stuff, you got better. You made leaps. And so I think our division just got stronger, and it's going to be way more fun to watch these games. And I don't know, there's a lot of talk about, is it Sewell? How do you say it? Sewell? Yeah. He, like, a lot of people were high on him. And then the running back, like, people were really high on him too. And it's like, wow, you got him that late. I mean, I'm thinking, like, as a Packers fan, I'm like, oh man, they're heading the right direction.
Yeah, they building. They got a foundation. This is a foundation draft right here. This is like our first draft when we drafted Elaine McNeil and a whole bunch of guys in the middle in the third round, and they were just big and they developed, and now they're gonna be better. They got better consistently every year. So, but I like the Dexter pick. I like them.
I just think it's weird though that like nobody's talking about the Vikings anymore. And it's like, why aren't they talking about the Vikings? Because, well, that's the thing. It's so weird. It's like everyone's like, this is a foregone conclusion that the Lions are going to win the division. And it's like, dude, I don't know if you guys know this, and I think the Lions are good. Don't get me wrong, but is it Flores that came in as the defensive coordinator? That's a big deal. That's a huge deal. And no one's, I was like, yeah, the Vikings, who cares? I'm like, I don't know if you guys know that they still have this guy named Jefferson. He's pretty good. Like, I mean, they have a good team.
The only thing we really lost was over the hill guys on defense. Thielen was not doing anything. Right. Kendricks was, lost a step. Like, we added, we got guys coming back. Lewis Seen, our first round pick from last year, is coming back. Our second round pick's coming back. Like that's why when I was talking to my dad and my brothers about it, and they really wanted some defensive players, and I said, Addison's going to help us right now. Like the defense, one guy on defense, unless you're drafting Sauce Gardner, which you're not, is going to help you right away. But a guy that on offense can help you get to top 5 top 3, be one of the best offenses in the league, because the defense isn't going to be great overnight, but hopefully with these guys coming back from last year, you added some guys later in the draft, you have a new coordinator that hopefully knows what he's doing. You put all of these together. They were 31st already last year, and they made won 13 games. And yeah, they're not going to win all those one-score games, but you make your offense better, hopefully. Your defense just has to be middle of the pack, hopefully. And there's no reason why they can't win the division again.
Here's the question, though. Obviously, all the pieces fit together well, and Dalvin Cook. I mean, I'm guessing he still is one of the top running backs. I mean, you never know with injuries; he's going to be gone.
When?
In that,
they're going to trade him after June 1st.
Okay, so he might after June 1st, and that could really affect the offense as well. Whether it's Dalvin Cook 100% or Dalvin Cook. The threat of him, Swift would have been helpful, because even with the Packers, I feel like everyone's like, okay, well, we've got these 2 awesome running backs, which I do like the Packers running backs, but it has to be a balance. Jordan Love will have to establish that he can throw a deep ball. To have the run respected. On that end, but with the Vikings, if they're not able to run the ball, obviously Madison is good.
He ain't Dalvin Cook.
No, he's not Dalvin Cook. He's absolutely not Dalvin Cook.
So that'll throw things off. And Jefferson, who is the team? There was a team or 2 that did shut him down, correct?
Yeah, that's the thing is, towards the end of the season, teams realized that Thielen couldn't beat him. KJ couldn't beat him. Yep. Hawkinson, they were like, we'll give you 8, 10, 15 yards from Hawkinson occasionally. And they were just double and triple teaming Jefferson. And that's when I knew towards the end of the season, it happened like twice where he was on pace for 2,000 yards and they slowed him down. And I'm like, somebody has to get open besides him. Hawkinson can catch 12 passes for 120 yards, like that's great. But he's obviously not a game breaker, but he's great at moving the change, and he's a great number 2 guy. But you have to have somebody else that can get open down the field, and that's obviously hopefully what Addison can do. Have other guys besides double, triple teaming Jefferson and just letting Hawkinson dig and duck down the field. Like that's not going to win a ton of games.
Right.
So hopefully Addison could break that open a little bit. That's the plan. I would think.
Thinking about is there's going to be guys that we all drafted or other teams drafted late. That's going to be the next whatever. Like Aaron Jones was drafted in the 5th round, 182. Like that was major fail by a lot of teams, right?
Still,
maybe McBride is the guy. Like maybe they know something, and it's going to be exciting.
McBride had 5 fumbles.
What I'm saying is there's going to be somebody, whether it's on the Bears or the Lions or even Packers, Vikings, or Seahawks. Like they are notorious for drafting guys in the late rounds that just turn into studs. And so we're like, oh, we don't like the first 2 rounds, 3 rounds, 4 rounds. Okay, whatever. We'd love it. It's like there's going to be some guy that's going to turn into
come out of nowhere. That's what Jaron Hall is the next Tom Brady. That's what I heard.
Let's
that's
go.
all I heard.
You were there. You were there, man. Like, tell us about this. I'm pumped to hear your story.
Well, I was going to say, did get a chance to meet Roger Goodell, and in person, he did say.
Did you boo him in person?
I did. Everyone booed him, right?
Yeah.
The funny thing is, he loves that, right?
I know he does.
And I was sitting there in the theater, 9 rows back, just kind of letting picks come in the 5th and 6th round, and then he just kind of. They were doing like a barbecue cook-off and some different, and Chris Rose was throwing out like autographed footballs and doing, different games. And then he just kind of emerges from the back of the stage, and we're like, whoa, we stood up and everyone kind of got excited. And he came into the crowd and just signed autographs, took selfies. And it's just, and they were really trying to make sure that the kids, got autographs, and so I did get a selfie with him, and I got an autograph football with him. I also did get an autograph with Adam Schefter on that football as well.
Oh, nice.
Threw that up, and also Dante Hall on that football. So, but when you talk about Roger Goodell, I think he really is good with fans, and he knows how to promote the game. And so we can all, boo him and all that, but he really is kind of good, in that environment. And real fresh, saw the selfie. Yep. It was a great experience. It was just crazy with how many people were there. and just kind of getting down there. And it's also crazy, and I'm sure we've all been to games. You've seen some of those crazy fans. How many people kind of dress up just with championship belts or things like that, just to kind of get on camera and all that. So that the atmosphere is amazing. I can't say enough about that. And I also can't endorse Detroit as a city. But I am going to try to go next year. If anybody gets an opportunity to go for at least a day or something, it's definitely worth it. And I think the NFL is going to continue to do they do a lot of things for the kids and just a lot of different activities that really keep things moving.
Yeah, I'll be there, man. I'll definitely be there. I'm gonna be there.
Well, so I told my wife when you sent me that thing about how much tickets cost to get in the theater, I was sending that to all my friends. I told my wife about that. My wife says, "Who in the world would ever want to go watch people get drafted?" I'm like, me.
You know
how many thousands of people want to do that? But when you talk about the prices, I'm like, oh my goodness. So tell me about that. Like you didn't end up getting in or what?
So
like,
here's the funny here's the funny thing. So it was with this On Location and it was off to the side, for even it was like, it must've been like $4 or $5 grand for Thursday night, or if you knew somebody, cause we had someone who was a Chiefs fan and she had a friend that had a friend that was a Rams fan and they had an extra ticket. So they, this guy threw on Rams gear just so he could sit with the Rams crew, even though he was a Chiefs fan. So that was interesting. But so it was expensive night one. Night two was like, if you wanted to be in the theater, it was like, in this On Location part, it was like maybe like $1,200. Saturday to be in this On Location off to the side was $550. So it was really expensive. Right. And so I wasn't, we were down lower kind of behind in the free area and there's, all the sets and everything. But I figured kind of in the last day, they would want people seat filling. And so I kind of went off to the side and they had where the entry was. And so we kind of waited. They said, oh yeah, you can wait to get in. They said, you're not guaranteed to get in. It might be 45 minutes. So we waited in line. It ended up being like 15 minutes. We got right in for free. Nice. And they were just filled it. We were going to go one place and they ended up putting us, 9 rows back from the stage. And the funny thing is, I thought about the $550. Funny thing is, the On Location part was way off to the side. So that was, it was cool to be in the theater with that, but it was worse tickets than my free tickets on the last day. And they didn't even have any access to Roger Goodell from where he came down the stage and back. So it ended up being a good thing. Just everybody enjoyed it and everybody wanted to be on camera and all that. So it was a lot of fun. Definitely worth it. Definitely should go, because even if you're kind of around, you're just seeing where everything is kind of filmed and everything. It was just a great atmosphere to be a part of.
Right.
That's what's up. That shit look dope, man.
Yeah. Detroit, I don't know what they're going to do, but I don't know if Detroit can top Kansas City.
Well, it doesn't, they don't need
the NFL
to.
Do it right.
Make it a good experience.
Yeah, I hear it gets consistently better every year. And plus, they won the Super Bowl last year, and like their fans are kind of like ours. Like we're very rabid too. So.
Well, and some people were complaining about that they came and celebrated the Super Bowl. I thought that was cool.
That was dope. Yeah. So
and I feel
we
like
won the Super Bowl this year, and y'all come to Detroit next year, it's gonna be it's gonna be good.
And then you woke up from that dream.
Are you calling it already?
Huh? I'm just shouting.
There you go.
I mean, you have a better first round,
Well, this has been a fantastic show. I definitely enjoy. We're gonna have to next week, I believe the schedule release. We'll do something either next week.
I heard around the 11th is when they are targeting. So we'll see.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah, a week and a half, 2 weeks. Yeah.
So we'll have to do that. A show when that happens. Chris Hand had it last year. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Lions, Bears, and Viking. There you go. We're in Chris's head, rent free.
We're in his hand.
Wow, that's interesting.
Hey,
you know what? I like that there's a rivalry. I like that we can respect one another's teams. I think there's I think this year's really exciting as a NFC North fan. I'm pumped.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's
it's
gonna be
really
lit.
up for grabs, right?
Yeah, our division gonna be lit. It's gonna be very much more competitive.
It is.
Definitely.
If only
Wait
the Bears
until
could get
we,
a quarterback, they'd be all right.
Oh no, Jared Goff's the best quarterback in the NFC North. You
Without a
heard it
motherfucking
last
doubt.
week.
Hey,
Without a
when
doubt.
everyone sees what Justin Fields is, I'm you all better be scared. So
Terrified.
and I know you are. Where can everyone find you, Dave?
At Viking Dave 18 on Twitter. That's pretty much it.
Very good. And Trevor, welcome back again. Where can everyone find you?
Yeah, Twitter, Rev Trev K, and on YouTube it's Kempner Sports. That's my last name, Kempner. And I've done a bunch of Packers content. I also do fantasy football content as well.
All good stuff. That's coming up. I know I have my we have our
draft
dynasty
together,
draft coming up.
which
here,
I traded you the two pick.
Yes,
I had
yes.
one today.
I
had
am.
one today.
You had one today.
Yeah, I took Bijan Robinson, number 1 overall.
Nice.
Let's go.
With what happened with running backs, I'm a little bit upset now that I traded you that running back there, Trevor.
Well, we can trade back.
Nah, I'm good. I'll be good.
DJ Moore, that was you got your boy
I like
DJ Moore.
DJ Moore. That is my boy. So,
But I'm pretty pumped about that trade.
7th letter. Where can everyone find you again?
7th letter 04 on Twitter. Same OG. Facebook and Instagram. Las Vegas to Detroit. Sports Radio on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I'm about to do a show with him as I told him they was going to pick Michael Mayer. I told him they was going to pick a nice, good old Patriot draft, just like I told him. And watch that little clown destroy the Raiders like all the old Patriot coaches do to NFL franchises. So that's going to be
absolutely. Well, absolutely. Well, thanks again, guys. Once again, this has been Freezin for NFC North Podcast, episode 52, and we will catch you again once we have the schedule released. Thanks again, guys.
All right, man.
See you
Thanks
guys.
for having me on. Y'all be safe, fellas.